My name is Rick Bywater, and it's been a long time since I've been here. I think it was about 18 months ago when I was up here demonstrating wooden basketry. Thanks for having me again. My wife likes to sew, and I like to turn wood. And so last year, as a Christmas gift, I ended up making her decorative wall buttons. Do any of you have anybody that you know who out there that sews? Yeah. Okay. Well, hopefully this might be a practical gift, and when I say practical, basically it goes on the wall. So just imagine her she shed, right? Her sewing she shed. These buttons just kind of hang right on the wall. Now, if you don't want to make a button, I guess, without drilling these holes, maybe this could be a coaster. Or the other option that I'll do for you tonight, we could maybe sell you on not doing these holes. You turn this round and it might be like a picture frame. So you're getting a potentially 3-for-1 deal here, okay? Either the wooden button, coaster, or round picture frame. So anyway, my goal is for you to walk away tonight and hopefully learn some type of technique that I'm going to do here tonight and add it to your bag of tricks. And so that's my goal, and what I would like to try to do is demonstrate a little bit of the embellishment. This particular, should I go like this or this way?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Okay. So this particular embellishment is just a milk paint, and I used a, you know what a scaler is? A rust scaler, powered air scaler. You get it at Home Depot, or you get it at Harbor Freight. So anyway, just use an air scaler on here to make the indentations, and then paint milk paint all over it, and then sand it away, and it leaves a nice texture. This particular texture is eggshell, and I don't really like what I did here on this particular one. So the one that I'm going to try and demonstrate some eggshell for you tonight is going to be on this one here. I just like this border a little bit more as opposed to the eggshell kind of mixing in with the holes. It's just a design thing with me. I mean, I really pride myself on, I guess, design, creativity, and quality, and I just, for some reason, I just don't like this piece. And another reason why I don't like this piece is I think that this is too wide. Basically, you can use a 3/4 inch piece of wood and turn it down to probably about 5/8 of an inch, and that's fine. And if we're going to turn like a kind of a 3/4 bead, then this distance from here to here should be 5/8 as well. And so when you look at this particular bead, it just, in my opinion, it just is too big. And here we're talking about buttons, right? So anyway, that's my take on it. And then when you get home and you really want to make one of these, now you're going to start looking at buttons, and you're going to just say, okay, well, maybe I'll try to make one like this button or that button. This particular wood is spalted hackberry, and then my wife added the nice little yarn attachment there. So anyway, that's what we're gonna do tonight, and hopefully you get something out of it here. What I did is I just took a chunk of walnut that I had sitting on the shelf. It's thicker than normal, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to Do a lot of you use double stick tape in your turning? I used to use it a lot, and then I kind of shied away from it, and I pretty much use everything with a chuck. You can do this with a chuck. You can do it with the. I'm going to demonstrate on a faceplate. I don't know if there's really any certain way. I would say that if you're going to do it, use a faceplate. I like to use a smaller one because as I'm turning this, I don't want to hit the faceplate. Is the only thing. If I'm in a chuck and I've got it in a nice chunk of wood there that I'm going to still do the double stick tape to, it gives you a little bit more leeway, I guess. So that said, let me just. I stuck this on before I got here, and then we'll just. There's certain double stick tape that I like and others that I don't like, and this is the good stuff because it's got a kind of a hard plastic to it, and it doesn't in the summertime it doesn't get real tacky, or it doesn't. So anyway,
where do you get it?
You know what? That's a good question. I've had it for a long time. Probably at the tool show, but get it so it's a waxy covering. That's all I can say. Basically, I just kind of sort of turned a circle. The important thing is just finding the center, because that's where I'm going to tee this up. And I changed out my point on this thing. Cindy Drozda makes these things, and they're really nice. So we'll just go, and I ended up dropping it, so what's the point, right? Okay. I like to use a lot of different tools, so I'm going to just let me just show you. This is probably not the ideal piece of wood to turn because it's got, I guess, no, this was the good one. Okay. Almost.
What's in the bag? When we go through the bag, you have to put a stick.
Now all I'm doing is shear scraping. But for me, I think it. Okay, so got a little bit of tear out right here, and there's where the pith is. So let's just see if we can get that cleaned up a little bit better. Think I got it? Okay, so now this is about 7/8 inches wide, and it's really too wide. I like it being about maybe 5/8 inches wide. So we'll take that down. Again, these are mounted on the wall, so I'm not really that concerned about this side of it. But I am going to make a bead. In fact, I might as well do that now. I'll do the bead with some different tools just to give you some different ideas on maybe how to go about it. I'm going to take that down first before I go any further because it's too wide. I hope you don't mind if I do this. This is walnut and it gets a little... You'll be able to hear me okay. I picked this up when I did a demonstration down in Springfield. There was a doctor and he was selling these by the box for $5. I think it's a great idea. Okay, we'll call that good width-wise. Let me go back and make this bead. Now, you know, there's different ways about going with this bead. I bought this tool. This is a D-Way tool. I bought this 8 years ago and never figured out how to use it. And the reason I bought it is because it was at the AW in Portland, not this past Portland, but the previous Portland. And they said you could make any size bead you wanted. So I thought, well, that's better than just buying each individual bead tool that they sell for $42. So I ended up buying this and I never really figured out how to use it. So we'll see how this works tonight. But basically, it also just uses a shear scrape technique, and you're kind of rolling over. I don't really like it that well. So that's what that does. Now we'll go to this homemade tool that I made out of a, man, I don't know, he's fogged up.
I saw on YouTube the tips and tricks, and I tried it last night.
Saw what now?
On YouTube, the tips and tricks.
Yes.
I tried it last night, it totally works. You just take a little chunk of wax and rub it on both sides of the lens and then buff it off.
Okay.
It totally stops it from falling up. It's amazing. My shop's in like this. I'm chilly, so.
So all I'm doing is kind of a shear scrape. And the way this is set up, it just flips around. And so I can do either side. And the neat thing about it is I can, you know, I look right here as I'm doing it, and it allows me to really focus on the curve of that bead. Okay, so now what we need to do is bring this around and in. I'm going to keep the tailstock on for quite a while here until I get finished getting a lot closer to the bead, and then I can swing it back, and then the double stick tape should hold it fine. I guess if I was in my shop, I probably wouldn't even be using this thing, but I just don't want it to fly off in front of all of you guys. Okay, so another thing that I'm going to try and do here is make this part about maybe 1/4 inch thick. Okay.
Need to borrow his mask.
I think I'm going to try this, see how this thing does again. If it doesn't work very well, maybe I can get my money back. You ever tried that?
Good luck.
Yeah. Are you able to see? Kind of blocking you.
Yeah, you're all right.
Okay.
We've got several angles.
Okay, the other thing that you can do is just use your parting tool So all I'm trying to do is kind of come up with a, roughly make it look more like a button. What I want to try to do here is do a bead. So basically I've got this bead and then I did another smaller bead on the inside, just from an aesthetic point of view. So you don't have to. This one has no bead on it, and so okay, let me try this again. I'm going to just go ahead and take that off of there, and then we can get this tailstock out of here. Okay. Now there's different ways of doing this, but I'm going to show you how this shear scrape. See, I don't like to sand, and I've found that by doing this, I don't have to really sand these things that much. Okay, I got a knot there and a knot there, but okay, so now I'm just going to come in and try and clean that up a little bit better. Okay. Now what I think I'm going to do is do a bead right there. This is a D-Way tool 3. This is a 3/16 inch bead. Okay. Now because that bead went in, what I've got to try to do is remove a little bit more wood here and create a, bring this down to that inside part. And the only way I can really do that very effectively, I think, is this is kind of my negative rake scraper. It's just a round skew, and I use it a lot. And it helps me get it right up there to where I need to. Drop this down a little bit. Yeah, I'm not used to this. Okay. What we're going to do is we're going to do the same border that I did in this one. So I did a bead here, and I'm going to do another bead there, and then that'll leave you room for any kind of decorative look that you want to do. So that's where the buttonholes are going to go. I'm a little high, but I'm going to clean it up a little bit more right in here. A bit closer. Okay, so now I'm going to just take this down a little bit more inside here. Okay, so now, whatever you want to do is really your choice. When I used the scaler, basically it's about this long and it's air driven, and as the lathe is turning slow, it's just making all kinds of dents in this area here. And then, as another option, I'm going to demonstrate putting eggshell on this one. And so this black is a black gesso. So, just a Hobby Lobby. It's just a black, kind of an acrylic paint. The thing that I like about it is that it's got it's just got a lot of movement ability to it, so it's not gonna crack. Whereas there again, it's going to be completely covered by the eggshell. So basically, all I'm going to do is take my paintbrush. Which, anyway, let's just imagine I've got my black gesso, I got my paintbrush, and all I'm doing is I'm painting it right on the lathe, you know, and I'm just holding it there, and I'm getting all this area right here painted black. First I'd sand it, and then I'd paint it, okay? And so that's exactly what I did here. So now, I learned this eggshell technique when I went down to SWAT 2 years ago. There was a turner down there. His name is Clay Foster, and he was demonstrating different techniques. And I really liked what he did. Evidently, he's got a lot of chickens in where he lives, so you just go out and get the eggshell or get the eggs for free. I got to buy mine at Costco. The hard thing about this technique is getting the membrane out of the shell. I don't know if you know it or not, but every egg shell has this interior membrane, and that has to come off so that it becomes more porous, and it works with the glue that I'm going to use. I've heard that you just soak it in vinegar, and that hopefully helps. And you would then just peel that membrane off of there, and so then you end up with just a nice white shell. we're going to do is we're going to glue it with tacky glue. This is also another Hobby Lobby. It is like probably Elmer's glue. What I did is I watered mine down a little bit because this is about 2 years old and it was a little bit thick, and so we're gonna try and see how this works. And it dries clear, so we're gonna just put down a little bit in a specific area.
Rick, can you move towards the tool rest a little bit?
Okay.
Thank you.
You know, I wish I had a more of like a little brush, but these popsicle sticks are going to have to work.
Well, you just grind your eggshell up.
I'll show you.
Oh,
Okay. So now here's some eggshell.
Membraneless.
Membraneless. Okay, so we're going to just put it down right there like that. This is the fun part. Now, what you want to do, this is the tough part or the tedious part. Guy was complaining about the segments, you know. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to just try to separate and create a little bit of negative space so the black shows through. And if I don't do that, it just doesn't look good. Now, you could go any color you... In fact, we could probably use milk paint on this if you wanted to instead of the black gesso. You could go with blue, green, whatever color you want, and I think it's going to work.
You can actually take the eggshell
Yep,
after you get it all done,
yep.
and you can do a wipe on it, on the top of it,
Do a wipe?
on different colors, and then you wipe it off, and it will leave the eggshell look
Okay.
like you can use reds and blacks and greens on top of the
Sure.
eggshell.
And what I'll do after it dries, you know, I leave it on the faceplate because I sanded at 220, and it creates just a perfect feel to it. I didn't do, here, I should pass this one around. This one is, I didn't do a good job. Here, I don't know why I didn't pass these around. Here, you just take a look at it. But feel this one here, that one was not really sanded. And so you, okay, so, whoop. It can get a little messy, but we're going to just put another little piece right there, and so I guess what you were saying is you could color the eggshell?
Yeah, after it's already on there and it's all dry,
Yeah?
and you can take stains, you can take
You could take like,
you can take dyes, and you wipe. I've seen this guy. She does whole paintings like this, and then she'll wipe them, and she use different colors, and you'll get all kinds of.
I guess you could take those India ink pens that you use for the basketry, and that seems like a lot of work to color each little one.
First to keep it from bleeding. No,
Now-
you do it on the egg. She does it on the. I mean, you have the egg, and then lets that dry, and then you take and you can do a wipe of say black, and then wipe it all off and get as much and the white kind of still comes through and the
Yeah.
black, and then like you could go a red over it and do all that, and it almost looks like dragon scales and stuff, and you can just you can do different things like that, and then you put a coat of whatever finish you want to put on it.
I guess-
Keep it from bleeding into the rest of the wood though, when you're putting it on.
Well, you probably have to tape it off. I mean, you could tape it off and just, you'd have to be careful.
You know, I guess if we,
Finish it first.
I guess if we wanted to, we could use like Easter eggs and use colored shells, right?
Yeah, I mean, it is, you can do all kinds of stuff with eggshell.
It works.
You know, this is a technique that you might want to try on a vessel. I've done a really cool vessel. I did the whole thing. It took me a long time, but basically the entire piece is eggshell, and I used black, the black gesso, and I sanded it, and it feels like a baby's butt. I mean, it's really cool.
You sanded the eggshell?
I sanded the eggshell. So after this glue is dry, tomorrow, I put this back on the lathe, and and maybe I tried 320. I'll tell you, I can't remember what sandpaper I used, exactly what grit sandpaper you use on eggshell. So you're going to have to experiment. So, the neat thing about this is don't be afraid to make mistakes, because you learn by your mistakes. I learn every single day, and I hope to the day I die. And if we were all perfect, it would be a boring world, I think. So anyway, we'll do just a little bit more here, just to show you the... And the reason I just do a section, because, I don't know how long this glue is going to last before it really starts to set, but it's called tacky glue. Okay. It's almost like a puzzle here. Well, I guess I could let me shorten this one up a little bit. So I'm going to just put it, maybe I'll put it like this. Okay, so she's in position. And you have to really break it, because sometimes, this egg is really curved, and so you want it to be as flat as you possibly can. And I originally, when I did this, I used a toothpick, but I like this sharp point for moving these things around. It just is better, I think. And at the end, if you want to, fill in a spot or a spot here, that's what I do. So let's say now that I've got my eggshell all the way around there like that. I'm going to let it dry overnight. I'm going to stick it back, then on the lathe. And the thing that bugs me is this edge right here. It's just not a nice clean edge. So that's where I'm going to probably go back. And I've taken this parting tool and I've really modified it so you can see how thin it is. I'm going to take this parting tool and I'm going to just cut just a small little groove in there so it makes a nice, clean, even cut. This is the tool that, what was the guy's name, Mike, that at the KC Woodturners, he demonstrated that bowl in a bowl, I guess. And it was a Saturn. Was it a Saturn bowl? Anyway, he showed us how to make this thing, and it really works pretty well. So
Lucas.
I don't remember. Yeah, I'm getting old too. So anyway, there's so many different ways of embellishing this. Another technique that I really like is I really like pyrography. And so what I would do is, and you can get your own wire and you can make your own tips. And the one that I really like to make is the one where you wrap it around the nail, so it almost looks like a basket weave. And so, you know, you can just touch it on there and just kind of go around and then do a cross hatch, and I think that would look really nice as well. And there again, these are techniques that you can use on any vessel that you want. This just happens to be a button. So then what I ended up doing was I ended up making the buttonhole. I don't know if there's really any to my knowledge, I don't think there's really any particular size for a button. There again, this is just a wall decorative piece, and so I basically just would take this then off of the faceplate and go to the drill press, and then just drill through, and that's pretty much it. As far as how these are attached to the wall, a lot of times my wife she just hooks it on right here. If you want to go fancy, you can also have the attachment and attach it right to the button. I don't know if that's pretty much what I've got tonight to show you. Any questions? So anyway, that's pretty much it. I didn't bring my wood burner to burn tonight, but that would be the next. That would be the next thing. And then another thing that I really like is those wheels that you
Texturing tool?
the texturing tool. This would really look cool with the texture on it, and yeah, I think texturing, burning, eggshells, paint, pretty much covers it.
How about crackling on the inside?
That would also be a nice feature.
You use the same glue.
Probably.
You sand that eggshell?
I do. And I sand it, you know, I thought I used 220. I might start at 320 just to be safe, but because you can always go back to a tougher grit. But yeah, just let it set up overnight and then throw it back on the lathe, and then definitely use a breathing deal. I don't know if your lungs like eggshell very well. Mine don't. Anything else? Thank you very much.
Thank you.